South Africa battles to cope with stage 4 power cuts. The Black Business Council is calling for resignations of Eskom CEO Andre Director as well as his board. But does that demand enjoy any backing from other sectors? Well, earlier, Aviwe Mtila caught up with the organization on doing tax abuse. Now, Outer CEO Wayne Duvenage says Director inherited a failing institution.
We think that's ridiculous, quite frankly. There have been 9 CEOs since the Zuma era. Andre Director and his team have been in this position for 20 months now, and they've inherited a systemic breakdown and failure of an institution that was handed over to them. There's been very little maintenance of old plant. There's been no production or procurement of new energy since 2019, by the way, when the President introduced the risk mitigation independent power producers program that had to come into place. The Department of Energy is to blame. Gwede Mantashe needs to tell us why no new energy has been procured. And if you can't bring new energy on, it's very difficult to take the current power stations, which are very old and under-maintained in the past, from the past leadership, and try and fix this problem. It is a very, very difficult issue, and to lay blame and put all of this at the feet of Andre Director, who wasn't even here, and the Jan Oberholzer, the COO, they're very experienced people in this space.
So suburbs in Johannesburg are experiencing prolonged outages lasting hours and in some cases days. This while Eskom is also carrying out blackouts. It's believed overloading of the system, cable theft and lack of maintenance is the cause of these cuts. eNCA reporter Barry Bateman is checking on the situation and joins us now. Barry, good afternoon. Now, City Power Acting Chief Executive summoned managers, we understand, to a meeting this morning to get answers on the North Riding power issues. Is there any finality or is there any end, in fact, to that those interruptions there?
Yeah, good afternoon. As we understand it, there might in fact be, and to excuse the pun here, light at the end of the tunnel. Following the load shedding yesterday, as well as the rain on top of that, what was supposed to have been a few hours of load shedding went into several hours of interrupted power supply. We understand in some areas all up until the second bout of load shedding last night. So there was this meeting that was called this morning by the acting chief executive of City Power, called in some of the senior managers. He wanted answers to what is going on. NOEL MASO, who is the regional manager responsible for this Randburg area, under which North Riding, Olivedale, there's various other areas that fall under it. That's under his control. I actually spoke to him last week where he gave us an update on what work was being done. Well, Noel telling me that he is very confident that the work that they have now put in, he believes will result in a stable power supply. Of course, the residents will still be having your regular load shedding as per the Eskom schedule, but it's those extended hours, the fact that the power never comes on when it's supposed to come on, that Noel MASO believes that this has finally been resolved. Of course, if it hasn't, eNCA will be on his back once again. But take a listen to what he had to say when I spoke to him a short while ago.
Firstly, I basically had to detail what sort of effort we've put in and where we found a window of opportunity. So, during the voting weekend, we had no load shedding. So during that time, that's when we took the time to actually get to all the faults that are affecting the North Riding area. And with that, we've done some repairs. We went back into load shedding, unfortunately, which slowed us down a little bit. But as of last night, we are confident that, with the next round of load shedding that's happening up until Friday, the people of North Riding, should get a much better restoration time. When the load shedding comes back, they should be able to come back. There's still a few glitches, but it's 1 or 2 that affects just Johannesburg North. But it's a very small area. We are working together with our Eskom guys to make sure that whatever the glitch is, we sort it out and we can quickly restore power.
Barry, there sure could be light at the end of that tunnel. Now, community members are fed up. What have they said to you about this whole situation of blackouts?
Yeah, I was out earlier today speaking to residents. I put it out on Twitter and asked people, come and speak to me. I want to hear what your problems are. About a dozen came out and, you can hear the anger in the people's voices. You know, if you just look at what happened yesterday, this is forgetting about the months that they've been having problems of. Just yesterday, you had your load shedding in the morning. It came back on for like 30 seconds, they say, and it tripped again. They're then off for an hour. It will come back on for 30 seconds and tripped again. And this went on all the way through yesterday up until in the evening. And the concern there is you just simply cannot plan anything in your life. You cannot, your devices, you simply cannot charge them unless you've got other alternative sources. The damage that this causes to your electrical appliances, the on-off, the surges, appliances that are being lost, and this is to the pocket of residents in the area. There's another aspect to this, and this is the issue of crime. And I was actually speaking to the CPF head in the area, Michael Tuck, and he was explaining to me how when you have the load shedding, the area goes dark. The alarm systems only function for a certain period of time on the limited battery supply they have, and it appears the criminals have cottoned on this. So the issue of burglaries and robberies, they say, escalates in this dark period caused by load shedding, made worse by the fact that the power trips beyond those scheduled hours.
No, very interesting point you make there around the criminality element, because I think they would use this as an opportunity, and some of us would have thought they would also just stay home as criminals because it's dark. But it makes quite a lot of sense. But what is the next step from City Power?
Well, what we understand is that this Friday there's going to be a community engagement. We'll get all the details for our viewers on eNCA, but we understand that City Power is going out. They're going to have the new councillor, Ralph Bitkow, as well as community leaders from the various affected areas. They're going to be having some community engagements, the details of which we don't have just yet, but it is a step towards, I suppose we can call it, normalizing relations with a very frustrated and angry community.
No, thank you very much. That's our reporter, Barry Bateman, there, who's been talking to community members on how the blackouts continue to affect them.